What's good, YouTube? So right now it's Tuesday morning, late morning, yeah, 11:30. It's between London session and New York, so I thought it'd be a great time to just get the camera out, talk about a few things as I'm thinking about it at the time. So I've been reflecting on a few different things, and I think in videos it's very easy to spin off, and I tend to get in tangents a lot and just talk about different things, which I'm fine with. It's good to look back on. But sometimes I miss a couple of different key things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to try and do that today and just almost give you an overview of the stuff that went on last year, how I developed, how I've grown, decisions I made, how my style's adapted since that, what I'm working on right now, and just a few little updates like that. I think it's going to be really good because, once again, it's almost like a documentation video. People be able to go back to this in the future when I'm at a completely different stage of my trading, when I'm a lot better, a lot more skilled, a lot more closer to the mastery of the skill. People are going to be able to come back to this, including myself, and just be like, okay, just identify where you are at that point in time within your journey. So I think it's very important, not only for myself, but for other people to kind of see this over time. So it's going to be good. I think a lot of things have changed, and I think in a time period where a lot of things do change, it's important to kind of just almost stop yourself and just make sure that you're learning along the board and not get too caught up in the, you go so quick sometimes that you forget what you've learned. So almost going back in time, remembering the things that you learned, and then you can just apply those lessons going forward. So it's going to be good. There's a lot of growth behind the scenes that most people on social media can't even see. To be honest, I can't even put into words the growth that comes behind the scenes, both in an aspect of technical wise to developing your skill, but then almost as well the psychological stuff, the inner stuff. You've got the inner self and the outer self. The outer self is the skill itself, the development of becoming a trader, becoming an asset, becoming that, just getting close to mastery. And then you have the inner self. So it's almost like the iceberg analogy, where you have the top exterior, which is the 20%, but then you have so much that goes on, indoors in yourself, that just a lot of self-work to get to where you want to get to. And I think a lot of people don't see that stuff, but it's important to talk about both different aspects because they both deserve a lot of attention. So we're going to get into that today. But I just wanted to backtrack to last year. So I'm probably going to go on a few tangents, ignore that, just flow with it. I tend to do that when I'm just thinking about a few different things. I'll get thoughts pop up in my head and I'll just kind of go this way and go that way. So bear with me. But yeah, I think in terms of last year, after coming from a structure-based style, so if you followed my journey for a while, I was trading structure for over 2 years, two or 3 years. I felt like that gave me a great foundation. I learned a lot of things from there, to be honest. I learned a lot of things technical-wise, psychological-wise, and just habits, and just a lot of different things that I sometimes don't consciously use now, but sometimes I'll almost back out and subconsciously use it without even knowing. So I'll always be grateful for that. I'm always grateful for my roots and where I started off, and that's helped me to progress to where I am today and where I will be in the future. Because without that, I wouldn't have a foundation. So very grateful for that. So I came out of a structure-based style basically, and I went into, my thought process at the time was wanting to dig deeper. I wanted to learn the skill a little bit more. I felt like there was almost pieces missing to the jigsaw that I didn't fully understand yet, and I wanted to almost go in search of that and try and figure stuff out by myself, whether that was by myself or through different sources. Just want to really to figure it out and just learn more and just open myself up, just learning again. I feel like I've hit a plateau at that point, so I needed to act. I could have hit that plateau and just literally stayed where I was, but I knew deep down I wouldn't be happy with that, because my whole thing behind my trading is not just, well, when I first started, it was mainly just I want to become a great trader. I want to make a certain amount of money. I want to be at this stage and then develop into other things. Some of that hasn't changed, but I'm more in search of the mastery of the skill now. Like, I don't want to just plateau at something. I don't want to, I could have easily, right now I've got, we're going to talk about this a little bit too. I've got 2 different strategies. One is going to be evolving, which I'll talk about soon. And then the second one is good. I think I'll be trading that for a while. But I could literally just stop there and just be like, cool, I'm just going to trade live now, I'm happy with that, and just kind of casually flow with it. But it's just not me, it's not within my character. I want to always develop. I always believe in, being a student in the market and just developing yourself and your skill. So right now and recently, I've really been focusing on getting closer to that skill of mastery and focusing on, actually mastering the skill longer term. So that's why I'm focused on. But I went into price action after, the structure-based style. And I wanted to piece a little bit of things together, add a few different things to my style, to my toolkit almost, so that I could add that in and then trade that longer term. That's going to benefit me. I never looked at it in terms of, I'm going to trade structure, drop structure, trade price action, drop price action, and just move styles. It's never my intention. My intention was trade structure, build a solid foundation there, happy with that. Okay, maybe I can learn a few different things in price action that I can develop my own skill, learn about my trading skill a lot more, and then just get close to that end product of where I want to be longer term. Because at that point in time, little did I know it, I didn't have a clue about the trader that I wanted to become. I almost tasted a few different things, but I hadn't had enough experience, time in the game, and just tasted a few different things by then. So yeah, I wanted to learn price action and stuff, and now I'm just going deeper into price action and more so just learning about how some of the top tier traders trade, and then trying to implement some of that stuff into my own trading too. So it's pretty interesting. It's been a pretty interesting journey so far. And so onto the main sort of topic that I wanted to talk about is that I formed my main, let's just call it my first strategy, right? So my first strat around September-ish, and I'm still trading that to this day. But the thing is, this is where it gets interesting, right? So listen to this. You may resonate with this, you may in the future resonate with this, but I think it's very important to understand. When you develop a style, right, or when you learn a strategy, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, because you've expanded, because you've grown, because your mindset's in a completely different space, some of the same things that you used to develop that style may not make sense anymore, because you've almost grown past that. So I was basically learning a few different things back then, and it was very helpful, helped me to develop that style. But now, because I'm almost know, let's call it an extra 20% beyond that knowledge that I initially knew, it's very hard for me right now to trade that exact style and not see other things within the market, if that makes sense. So I could literally just, which is what I've been doing to be completely honest, but I could literally just trade that style and just take every single entry, which I've been doing. But the problem is that you almost start to, I don't want to say add in another style or confidence into it, but you almost add in your new knowledge into it. So I can see, okay, well, this, how do you explain it? It's almost like a way, okay, well, if your strike rate is 60%, I almost know a way to increase that to 70 by including a few different things, So how do you explain it? Fucking hell, I don't understand. Damn. So what I'm really trying to get across here is that once you learn something, as you continue to grow, as you continue to develop, it's very hard to come back to the original basics or come back to the original fundamentals of how you built that style, because your mindset, your growth, your journey is in a completely different space, in a completely different time, and it's just completely different by that point. So I think this is where, once your mind's expanded to a new level of thinking, to new concepts, to new learning, to new lessons, to new experiences, it's very hard to go back and trade the exact same way as you used to, if that makes sense. And I've had that a few times, to be honest. I could say that with structure based, for people always ask me all the time, does structure work? Does this work? Does patterns work? Does price action work? I'm gonna say this right, they all work. They all literally work. You could trade structure, you could trade support resistance, you could trade indicators. Pretty much every single style works if you give it time, if you put your own twist on it, you can make it work. You can make it work. But here's my thing, in terms of, because you're constantly growing, so what would have made sense entry-wise a year ago, 2 years ago, I couldn't go back and trade that way now, because my understanding of the market, my understanding of how price actually moves, and the way things drive the market is no longer the same. My perception's grown, everything's expanded, my knowledge has increased. So I can go back and just blindly trade that, because I would see so many different things that I may not have seen 2 years ago, a year ago. So it's almost the same with that main strat, right? I'm going back right now and I'm trading it live still, but sometimes I'll take losses in the market. I've taken a loss, but I almost had an intuition that it would be a loss because of this, new knowledge creeping in. So I think to be honest, my sub strat has been performing very well. My main strategy is not performing that well, great so far in 2021. So what I think is going to be happening, I'm keeping track of both, and I've been keeping track of both since early Jan to see how everything performs. So I'm almost going to adapt and evolve with it, and this is something that comes with the journey too. You've got to learn to adapt and evolve. What I'm going to be doing is almost trading this main strat for a little bit longer, because I'm learning some new techniques and upgrading things now as well as we speak, which is super exciting. My limited beliefs have just gone out of the roof, if that's the right phrase to say. But yeah, I think I'll be archiving that soon. Within the next 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, I think I'll start to add some of these fundamentals from the style these concepts that I'm learning right now into developing something better, more sustainable around my lifestyle, my future goals. Got the end goal in mind now. I've got the vision of, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel where things are going to take me. So I think, to be honest, that will be archived, I think, very, very soon. And I'm going to be just trading the second strategy for now because it's performing well. I don't need to trade the main strat. So the sub strat has become my main strat for now. And then I'm going to be learning some more stuff, and just, right now I'm just literally just learning new concepts, like literally pad and pen out, learning new things, getting more information, just in that learning mode again, which is, to be honest, really nice. Taking a step back from backtesting, just opening myself up to learning more things. And I think it's going to be good because I'm going to be able to propel myself from where I am right now, which is a decent place, but I'm not satisfied with staying here. I want to move forward. I want to drive forward. Like I said, I want to master the skill. I want to be one of the best in the game, and I want to be able to, just reach a certain level within my trading work. And just, it sounds really cliche, and I've heard it so many times in the past, but literally be at a point where you can just print money. It sounds very cliche, but this skill can literally bring you that longer term if you just master how you trade. So yeah, it's very exciting. It sounds a little bit cliche, but you can get to a point within your trading where you can literally make money. You can choose what days you trade. You can do this. You can say, for example, right, I want to get to a point within my trading where I'm trading the London session right now with my substrat. I want to get to a point within my trading where I have so much understanding of the markets that I can pick and choose my sessions, pick and choose my days. And it's going to be very sustainable around different businesses, projects in the future. So what I mean about developing my style around my lifestyle and future business projects and life, family, all that kind of stuff in the future, I'm thinking longer term. I'm thinking about, if I've got two more different businesses apart from trading YouTube in the future, I could probably add a couple more in the future. I think that's the road I'll take once I'm not going to do that right now, but once my trading is a great level that I can feel the need to add in other projects because it's going to benefit me more than harm me. I think that'll be a great road to take for me personally. So that's what I'm probably going to be looking to doing. But I've got to be thinking now, if I want to work towards that, work towards having other businesses in the future, I've got to be putting the right steps in place now. So I can't be, I can't be on the charts 8 hours a day. Like there'll be times where you need to put that time in, and I think this is the freedom as well. Some days I might want to just trade London. Some days I might just trade a quick session in New York. But then some days I might want to trade both. Like some days I might want to trade Asia. Like I want to have that freedom of choice. Whereas right now I'm pretty much up every day trading London, 5:45 up, and then I'm just literally trading London every single day, which is fine. I enjoy it. It's got me into a good routine. But I want a little bit more flexibility to work around other businesses, life in general, that kind of stuff in the future. So I think that's very important. But what I'm trying to say and what you can take away from this is that just remember, have in the back of your mind as you're continuing to progress, as you're continuing to learn, have in mind your circumstances of the future and what you want to work towards. So I have friends that literally trade in the 1 hour chart, for example. They're fine with that. They know that they could wait 4 or 5 hours for a trade and they've got that time to prepare for the trade. They know exactly what to do when that trade actually materializes, which suits them very, very well, which I'm happy for them, and that's great. And I think they're going to be able to do that longer term. Me, I'm digging into the lower time frames more. So I'm talking like picturing things down. So from the higher time frame, always top down analysis and keeping all of that stuff, but then entering with precision on the lower time frames. So I'm just learning how to do that now. And I think that's going to be able to really put me in a place within my trading where I can pick sessions, I can pick days that I want to trade. So if I'm busy on a Friday and I want to do other things, or I want to build other businesses in the future, if you've made enough money Monday to Thursday or whatever it is, like you can just literally have Friday off, or like that's the sort of thing I want to get to. That's the place where I want to get to with my trading. The freedom, which I think most people that trade, there's a very small amount of people that trade full time and well. There's an even minute number of people that trade 100k plus. So it's just realizing how few people make it, but also understanding that you will make it. It's just time, effort, work, perseverance, and I know I'm gonna get there longer term. So, you know, I ain't gonna give up. So there's only one way through that road, and I'm gonna get there. So that's the focus. But yeah, that's a mini update on how things are going, really. So it's early afternoon. We just nipped out, just grabbed some juice, and then grabbed a burrito. There's this new place open like 3-4 miles away from me. It's pretty decent. Like, I've been out of the last 7 days, out of the last 10 days, I've probably been like 5 times. It's mental, but it's good food, it's healthy, which is the main part. If it wasn't healthy, I wouldn't be going, but it's healthy and it tastes nice as well. Just mixes things up too. So that's been good. So just nipped out, but whilst I was out, I thought I would share another quick thing too, because I think this is super important. You know, it's relevant to the topic we were talking about before. You are who you surround yourself with. I know you've heard that millions of times before on social media, by personal development coaches or whatever it is. However, I want to relate this in terms of trading to put this in perspective for you, because it's something that, like I said in the previous clip, like my limiting beliefs has completely increased. You know, been blown off the roof, let's say, in the last few weeks, couple months. So I just wanted to open up your mind to show you what's possible and just get you thinking about a few different things like that, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people who only think 3% per month is possible, or only think 5% per month is possible, or likewise with 10%, 15, whatever it is, then you're going to be capped at that potential. Because if you're surrounded by those people, you're constantly getting those thoughts, you're constantly getting those words, and eventually they're going to become subconscious, and then before you know it, you start saying it. I've had it to me done thousands of times before, where, you know, you hear something time and time again, and before you know it, it's within your language. You start to speak it, you start to live it. So it can be a very good thing if you're around the right people, but just be aware that someone saying that, you know, you can only make 3% per month, or 5% per month, or 10% per month, just know how limiting that is. You know, 10% is decent, to be fair, considering you know, 90% of traders fail in the markets anyway. But I'm just trying to put this in perspective in terms of what's possible out there once you learn to tap into it. And, you know, a bit of perspective, hedge funds are making 30 to 50% per month. Like, that's considered a very successful hedge fund if they return that per annum. So it's, in perspective, like, it's good, but just bear in mind you can tap into a lot more. Just give it time. Like, surround yourself with the right people as well. I'd rather surround myself with someone who is in drawdown or break-even dance, as long as they have that mindset that, yeah, but you can achieve, there's limitless potential to what you can achieve. I'd rather surround myself with those people than someone saying, you know, nah, you can't make any more than 3% per month. Like, it's very limited. It goes in trading, it goes in life, it goes in anything. It's super important. You know, you are who you surround yourself with. So just something to bear in mind. You know, if someone, for example, right, if someone is saying, you know, I'd be happy with 3% per month, if they're running at 3% profit in a single trade, what's the likelihood of them closing that trade? Because they're at 3%, they're at that maximum potential that they believe is possible within that month. They're going to close it. Like 90%, 99% sure, they're probably going to close it. Or, you know, if it runs even more and then it pulls back or whatever, they're going to get super emotional and be like, oh, I should have closed it. Like, you don't need that in trading. So just be aware that there's so much capabilities of trading. You just got to learn the skill. But yeah, I'm just sharing that because I've been tapping into a few different things lately, and it's mental what's possible when you actually believe it. Because you are what you believe. If you believe such and such is possible, you ain't gonna be going beyond that. So, you know, as the saying goes, reach for the moon. If you fail, you go beyond the stars. Like, it's so true. Aim for that potential. If you fail, you're still going to be successful. But if you cap yourself at a certain level, you've got a ceiling. You've automatically just given yourself a limit. So just wanted to bear that in mind. But yeah, I'm going to go back, eat this before it gets cold. But yeah, something to bear in mind.